This is one of those moments where you have to stop for a second and really take it in, because what just came out about the 49ers completely changes how you look at the rest of this season. An NFL insider dropped a detail that honestly would have sounded ridiculous not that long ago, especially considering everything this team has been through: injuries piling up, constant lineup changes, people questioning whether the window was closing, and yet here we are talking about a scenario where the 49ers could realistically finish this entire run at home. And I'm talking about everything: regular season, playoffs, and yes, even the Super Bowl, all at Levi's Stadium. If you had told me this was on the table a month ago, I would have raised an eyebrow, and I know you would have too. Think about how wild that is for a second. The idea that the path to a Lombardi could literally run straight through Santa Clara, with no freezing road games, no cross-country travel, no hostile playoff environments. That's not just a nice bonus. That's a massive competitive advantage, especially for a team that's been grinding through injuries all season. Less travel means less wear and tear, more recovery time, and a routine that stays consistent when the games matter most. I want to know what you think, so drop a quick yes or no in the comments. Does the possibility of playing the rest of the season at home make you feel like this team is truly built to go all the way? What makes this update even crazier is how earned it feels. This isn't some fluky scenario. The 49ers put themselves in this position by winning when they absolutely had to, even when things weren't perfect. That's why this insider update hits so hard. It's not just optimism, it's reality if the Niners handle their business. And before we go any further, if you're one of the many people who watches these videos but hasn't subscribed yet, now is the time. We're pushing toward 1,000 subscribers. It's completely free. And this is the stretch of the season where you don't want to miss a single update. Go ahead and hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and help this channel grow with the team. What I love most about this situation is how it flips the narrative. Earlier in the season, it felt like the 49ers were just trying to survive. Now they're in a position of power. They control their destiny, and the stakes couldn't be higher. And the best part is, this isn't just talk. The way they played in that last game showed exactly why this scenario is even possible. In the next part, we need to talk about the performance that made all of this feel real, especially from the quarterback, because what we saw wasn't just good, it was a statement. If that insider update was the big picture shock, the reason it feels believable at all comes down to what Brock Purdy just did on Monday night. This wasn't just a solid game or a bounce-back performance. This was a statement, and honestly, it couldn't have come at a better time. Against the Colts, Purdy didn't just look comfortable, he looked in complete control, like a quarterback who knows exactly who he is and what this offense can be. 5 touchdown passes, efficient decisions, commanding the game from start to finish, and doing it on a stage where narratives get built and torn down in real time. What really stood out to me wasn't just the touchdowns, it was how clean the operation looked. Purdy was only sacked once, and that matters more than people realize. It tells you the offensive line held up, it tells you the scheme was working, and it tells you Purdy was seeing the field clearly. Earlier in the season, and especially coming off the injury, there were constant questions. Was he fully healthy? Was he pressing? Could he still play the way he did before? Those questions have gotten quieter every single week, and after this game, it's fair to ask how many of them even matter anymore. So let me throw this to you directly. Do you think Brock Purdy is officially back to his pre-injury form, or do you still need to see more? Drop your answer in the comments because I'm genuinely curious where you land on that. Context matters too. This was a Colts secondary that could be exploited, and Purdy took full advantage. That's what good quarterbacks do. They don't play down to the opponent, they punish weaknesses. And this wasn't reckless football. Yes, there was an interception, but overall this was smart, efficient, aggressive when needed, and calm when things tightened up. It looked like a quarterback who trusts his reads and trusts the guys around him, which brings us back to why this performance is so important for the bigger picture. If the 49ers are going to make a deep run, especially one that could stay at home, they need this version of Purdy, not perfection, but confidence and command. And if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and every single one helps more than you might think. This is the most important stretch of the season, and we're covering all of it, every angle, every update. The scary part for the rest of the league is that Purdy wasn't doing this on his own. The offense around him is starting to click at the right time, and that balance is what makes this team dangerous. And when you look at what the run game did in this one, it only makes Purdy's night even more impressive. That's what we need to talk about next, because the ground game showed signs of life that could change everything moving forward. One of the biggest reasons Brock Purdy was able to play the way he did is because the offense finally looked balanced again, and that starts with the run game. For the first time in a while, it didn't feel like the 49ers were just trying to survive on the ground. They were actually dictating terms. Christian McCaffrey was outstanding, not just in total yards, but in efficiency. Nearly 6 yards per carry changes how a defense has to play you. It slows down the pass rush, it opens up play action, and it lets the quarterback stay aggressive without forcing anything. That balance is exactly what this offense has been missing at times this season, and seeing it show up now is huge. What really jumped off the screen was the overall efficiency. The 49ers cleared 4.5 yards per carry as a team, and that might not sound flashy, but that's the kind of number that wins playoff games. That's the threshold where an offense stays on schedule, controls the clock, and keeps its defense fresh. For a while, it felt fair to wonder whether the run game just wasn't going to be the same this year. This game answered that question. The ability is still there. The blocking was better. The vision was better. And when the opportunities were there, the backs took advantage. I want to hear from you on this one. What impressed you more against the Colts? The passing game or the run game? Let me know in the comments. And when the run game is working like that, everything else opens up. That's why the pass catchers were able to stack big performances again. George Kittle was everywhere, playing through an injury and still making a massive impact. Jawan Jennings continues to quietly be one of the most reliable players on this offense, just chaining together big game after big game. Even the smaller moments mattered, like the receivers doing the little things that don't always show up in highlights, but keep drives alive. This is what a well-oiled offense actually looks like. Everyone doing their job, everyone benefiting from everyone else. It also reinforces how dangerous this team can be if defenses can't just key in on one thing. You can't sell out to stop McCaffrey if Purdy is carving you up. You can't drop back into coverage all game if the run game is gashing you for consistent gains. That's the formula that made this team so tough in previous seasons, and seeing it come back now should make you feel confident heading into the stretch run. And if you're feeling good about where this offense is trending, go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We're building something here as we push toward 1,000 subscribers, and this is the best time to be part of it. But as good as the offense looked, the game wasn't perfect, and we need to talk about the defense. There were moments that raised eyebrows, especially early on, and there's also the injury situation to address. That's where this gets interesting, because the defense told two very different stories in the same game. If you watch that game from start to finish, you know the defense had a tale of two halves, and that's really where the conversation needs to be. Early on, it didn't look great. The Colts were moving the ball through the air, and for a moment it felt uncomfortable, like the 49ers might be in for a longer night than expected. But the most important thing is how this defense responded. They didn't panic, they adjusted, and once they settled in, they completely changed the game. That's what good defenses do. They figure it out on the fly, especially against a quarterback who is clearly playing with confidence early. The biggest positive, and it can't be overstated, was the run defense. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best backs in football, and the 49ers flat out shut him down. Holding a premier rushing attack under 3 yards per carry is a statement, especially when you consider how critical stopping the run becomes in January. That wasn't an accident. That was discipline, physicality, and getting bodies back at the right time. Seeing multiple defensive contributors return to the field made a difference, and you could feel it as the game went on. The front looked stronger, the gaps were tighter, and the Colts had nowhere to go on the ground. So let me ask you this. After seeing that performance, are you more confident in the 49ers defense heading into the playoffs, yes or no? Drop your answer below. The second half turnaround is what really matters, though. The adjustments worked, the pressure picked up, and the momentum completely swung when the defense delivered the knockout punch with the pick six. That's the kind of moment that changes a game and energizes the entire sideline. It also tells you that this unit is still capable of taking over when it needs to. There will always be things to clean up, but the foundation is there, and it's getting stronger as reinforcements continue to arrive. Timing matters, and the 49ers are getting healthier when it counts most. Of course, you can't talk about this game without addressing the elephant in the room, and that's George Kittle. Seeing him go down immediately sparked concern, because this offense is different when he's on the field. The early reports, though, are encouraging. It sounds like a mid to low ankle sprain rather than something that would sideline him long term. His status going forward is still something to monitor, but the important takeaway is that it doesn't look like an extended absence. And even if he were to miss some time, this team has lived in a next-man-up mentality all season. They've shown they can function and even thrive when key players are unavailable. Still, I want to hear your thoughts. How worried are you about the Kittle injury right now? Let me know in the comments. All of this sets the stage for what comes next, because now the conversation shifts from what just happened to what's right in front of this team. The margin for error is thin, the opponents are elite, and everything starts at home. The final stretch isn't about style points anymore. It's about finishing the job. And that brings us to the biggest question of all, the path to the #1 seed and what it could mean for a run that stays right where the 49ers are most dangerous. Now this is where everything comes together, because what the 49ers have in front of them is as clear as it's been all season. 2 home games, 2 elite opponents, 1 massive opportunity. The path to the #1 seed in the NFC is right there, and the importance of that can't be overstated. When you look at how this team is built, when you look at the injuries they've endured, and when you look at how physical their style of play is, there may not be a team in the conference that benefits more from home field advantage than this one. The next matchup is going to be a challenge. There's no sugarcoating that. The Bears bring exactly the kind of style that tests you. They want to run the football, they protect the ball well, and they force you to earn everything. But that's also why this game is such a perfect measuring stick. The 49ers just showed they can shut down an elite rushing attack. They just showed they can win the turnover battle. And they did it while playing efficient, disciplined football. Those things translate, especially at home. This has all the makings of a physical, grinded-out game, and those are the kinds of games that tell you who's really ready for a postseason run. So I'll ask you this. Do you believe the 49ers can lock up the #1 seed by winning these next 2 games? Yes or no? Zoom out for a second and think about what this could mean. If the 49ers take care of business, the road to the Super Bowl literally runs through Levi's Stadium. No long flights, no cold weather playoff games, no hostile environments. Just this team, this roster, and a fan base that knows how to show up when it matters. 5 potential home games could stand between the 49ers and a 6th Lombardi trophy. It sounds almost unreal, but it's not a fantasy. It's a possibility that exists because of how this team has responded when things got hard. This is why every detail matters from here on out. Every snap, every adjustment, every decision. And this is also why you should be excited. This team isn't limping into the postseason. They're building momentum. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and your support helps keep this coverage going as the stakes keep rising.